Today's occasion is graced with 3 other vice chancellors from different universities. We have the honor of having Professor Moazu Abubakar Gusau, who is the current Vice Chancellor of the Federal University Gusau. Sir, you are welcome. We also have an honor to have in our midst Professor Abdullahi Mainasara, who is also the current Vice Chancellor of Saisa University of Medical Science and Technology, Sokoto. Sir, you are also welcome. In our midst also, we have the current Vice Chancellor of Sokoto State University, Professor M.B. Yarima. Sir, you are also welcome. In our midst also, we have Professor Abubakar Abdullahi, who is the Dean of Postgraduate School. Then you have in our midst also Honorable Commissioner, Science and Technology, Tertiary Education, Sokoto, Professor Attahiru Sifawa. Sir, you are also welcome. We have in our midst Dr. Aminu Lailaba, the Director of Academic Planning. We have Dr. Magonho, who is Chairman Governing Council of FCE. In our midst also, and the head of department of where the lecture presenter of today is coming, Professor Chika Muhammad, who is the acting HOD of Energy and Applied Chemistry. We have Professor A.B. Muhammad, who is the Director of Research and Innovation. Sir, you are all welcome. We have also in our midst Professor M.U. Tambwal, who is also the current Vice Chancellor of Shehu Shagari University of Education here in Sokoto. In our midst also, I will not forget to mention and welcome the Dean of my faculty, Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, Professor Aliyu Jibril, who is also here present with us. All other deans of the various faculties and the directors of the various centers. But I would like to recognize and welcome also our mother, Professor Sadia Umar, who is the director of Chibiyar Nazarin Hausa. Ma, you are welcome. Also in our midst, I could see the face of my teacher and mentor, Professor Abdulkadir Usman Junaidu from Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. Sir, you are also welcome. All other distinguished personalities here present, you are all welcome to this August occasion. Today we are going to have the 52nd inaugural lecture titled Chemistry, Energy and Industrialization, the Tripod of Sustainable Development, to be presented by the Vice Chancellor of Usman Dan Fodio University, Sokoto, Professor Bashiru Garba, MFR, and under the chairmanship of our father, someone who has chaired a lot of other chairs and gatherings even bigger than this one, We have the honor of having the Pro-Chancellor and the Chairman of the Council of Usman Dan Fodio University, Sokoto, Professor Tahiru Muhammad Jega, who is going to be today's chairman of today's occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, before the procession, I will also want to recognize the presence and welcome Dr. Kudirat Adegoke, who is the university librarian. Ma, you are welcome. We also have Professor A.I. Safi, Dean of the Faculty of Chemistry and Life Sciences. So you are also welcome. We have in our midst also Dr. Sali Hugire Bakari, the Director Research and Development Head Fund. So you are also welcome. And we have the presence also in our midst of Professor A.B. Yahya and Professor M.I. Said, who is a former DVC admin of this great university. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, can we all stand, please, and remain standing while we'll have the procession? Distinguished members of the university community, before us on the high table, we have the honor of having in our midst today external members of the University Council of Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto. Before us, we have the Pro-Chancellor and the Chairman, who is Professor Tahiru Muhammad Jega. Sir, you are welcome. Other members of his team include we have Dr. A.A. Yusuf, also in our midst. We have Hajia Khadija Liman, also as an external member. We have Hajia Zainab Ibrahim Gamawa. Ma, you are all welcome. Then we have Dr. Fauzia A. Buhari, also in our midst. Ma, you are welcome. Then we have Barrister Abimbola Daramola. Sir, you are also welcome. Okay, Daramola is on her way. Also in this gathering, we have the honor also to have in attendance Dr. Buhari Bello Kori, who is the national president of UDUS alumni. Sir, you are also welcome. Okay, now, band, please, can we have the procession? Procession, please. We also have in attendance Professor A.S. Mikaelu, who is also a former Vice Chancellor of Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto. Band, please, procession. We have Mr. Abu, who is the Director of Academics, who is leading the procession of today's inaugural lecture. With him are the various deans and the directors of the faculties. We have professors, we have deans and directors, we have former DVCs, and we also have in our midst our current DVCs. We have Professor M.G. Makuta, who is the DVC academic, and Professor M.M. Eshanu, who is our DVC admin. Sir, all of you are welcome. While we still remain standing, Ban, can we have the national anthem, please?
Hello, hello. Nah, kamu ada full reflection.
Thank you very much. We can take our seats, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome once again to this August occasion. It is indeed an honor and privilege to also stand here before you to anchor this program. I thank the chairman of the inaugural and the seminars committee of the university for giving me this opportunity. As I have said earlier, today we are going to have our 52nd inaugural lecture of Osman Danfodio University, Sokoto. And this lecture is going to be blessed to be presented by the Vice Chancellor of Osman Danfodio University, Sokoto, Professor Bashiru Garba, MFR. And for this lecture to be complete, we also have the great honor and privilege of having in attendance members of the Governing Council of Osman Danfodio University, Sokoto. And we have the Pro-Chancellor and the Chairman of the Council of the University, who is going to serve as the Chairman of today's occasion. We have in our midst Professor Atahiru Muhammad Jega, OFR. Sir, you are welcome. Can we give a round of applause to the chairman of today's occasion? And we have very important dignitaries on the high table, so numerous to mention, but I will not skip without also recognizing the presence of our two deputy vice chancellors. Today, we also have the DVC academic, Professor M.G. Mahuta, who is also going to read the citation of the lecturer for today. Sir, you are welcome. We have also in our midst the DVC admin, Professor M.M. Maishanu. Sir, you are welcome. We have in our midst also the DVC Research, Innovation and Development, Professor Tukur Adamu. Sir, you are welcome. I apologize that time will not permit us to mention all the members, but we have important dignitaries on the high table. And the next item we have on the agenda is the chairman's opening remark. May I invite the pleasure of Professor Tahir Muhammad Jega, OFR, to come forward for his address.
Members of the governing council,
Apologies, please. We forgot to invite someone to come and give us an opening prayer. And for that, we have recognized Professor Atahiru and give us the opening prayer.
صلوا على النبي الكريم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. Oh Allah, we pray as we gather to this auditorium of this great university to listen to this, the second inaugural lecture. May you, O Allah, lighten the heart and the tongue of the presenter. May you make the knowledge he is going to share beneficial to the academic community and the humanity at large. O Allah, reward all the important dignitaries that come from different parts of the country to witness or to grace this occasion. The Pro-Chancellor, the members of Governing Council, and all dignitaries from different parts of this country. May you, O Allah, reward all of them. Oh Allah, we have different needs, wish, and aspirations individually and collectively. May you, oh Allah, grant all the good ones among them. O Allah, may assist our leaders at different levels in this country to confront the challenges confronting this great nation. May you, O Allah, continue to assist this university in contributing knowledge to humanity. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذريتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما بجاه أم الكتاب. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Members of the Governing Council, members of Senate, chairman of the inaugural lecture series, distinguished invited guests, staff and students, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted and I feel honored with the opportunity to chair the 52nd University Inaugural Lecture to be presented by Professor Bashiru Garba, MFR, of the Department of Energy and Applied Chemistry, Faculty of Chemistry and Life Sciences, and of course the Vice Chancellor of this great university. The title of the lecture is Chemistry, Energy and Industrialization, the Tripod of Sustainable Development. I must begin by commending the Vice Chancellor for finding time, in spite of his very, very busy schedule, to be able to write and to today deliver the inaugural lecture. Inaugural lectures are very important activities in the academic life of a university. The Governing Council of this university is pleased that this lecture is taking place a day after we concluded the second quarter Governing Council meeting. And as we received the invitation to participate and our various flights of leaving Sokoto later this afternoon, of course, we very gladly accepted to be here. As it's about university traditions when it comes to these kinds of events. So I was a bit hesitant when the members of the Governing Council literally have occupied the center stage of this activity. Ideally, we should all be seated there, and people who are properly robed for the purpose of this inaugural lecture. So I'm worried about certain conventions and violating traditions. So please, we are already seated. If we have to change, maybe it will be disruptive. But please, let this be the last time that you give prominence to anybody other than academic members of staff for an inaugural lecture. But as I said, we are very happy, we are honored. It's a great honor, and we truly appreciate it. And I would like to commend the university also for sustaining the tradition of delivering inaugural lectures. It is the crown of academic activities for in the university system. And as I said earlier on, the fact that the Vice Chancellor is able to manage to do it while still working very hard as the administrative head of the university is very, very commendable. So we look forward to a very, very good lecture with a lot of take-home relevance, not only for the university, but for our country. Certainly there is a connection, and I think the intention is to connect all the dots between chemistry, industrialization, and sustainable development in our country. So we look forward to a very engaging presentation and something that will add substantial value to progress and development in our country. Thank you so very much.
Please, another round of applause to the chairman of today's occasion for his brief remark. Before the next item on the agenda, I want to quickly also announce that we have in our midst the presence of one of the external members of the University Council who just came while the chairman is giving his remark, Barrister Abimbola Daramola. You are welcome to this occasion. I also want to recognize and welcome Professor Muhammad Aminu Mode, who is DVC in Shehu Shagari College of Education, University of Education. Also Professor Bagudo, sir, you're also welcome with my mother, Professor Bagudo again, Mrs. We have Professor Jumari, the former director of Peace Studies, sir, you're also welcome. We have also in our midst Professor M.I. Elia of Geography Department, sir, you are welcome. We have also Professor Abdul Ghaffar Jimo, the Deputy Provost of College of Health Sciences. Sir, you are welcome. I can also see Professor Salahu of Faculty of Education. Sir, you are also welcome. Then we also have in our midst the Basa of the University, Farouk Al-Kali Boko. Sir, you are all welcome. Okay. And for members that could not attend, there is an information to be passed that there is a Zoom link, which is in circulation in the various platforms here in the university and outside. Our next item in the agenda is the citation of today's lecturer. Before the citation, we want members to usher today's lecturer, please. Can we give a standing ovation to welcome the Vice Chancellor Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto? We can sit. Welcome, Mr. Vice Chancellor. Just as a soft reminder, today we are going to have the 52nd inaugural lecture to be presented by our able Vice Chancellor of this great university, Professor Bashiru Garba, MFR. And the topic of today's lecture is chemistry, energy, and industrialization, the tripod of sustainable development. But before the delivery of the lecture, I would like to invite the honor of the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor M.G. Mavuta, to come and give a brief citation of the lecturer. So you're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. The Vice Chancellor. The Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council, Professor Muhammad Atairu Jega, OFR, members of Council, members of Senate, distinguished professors here present, deans and HODs. Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to read the citation of today's distinguished inaugural lecturer, a scholar of great repute and service, Professor Bashiru Garba, MFR. Professor Bashiru Garba is a professor of renewable energy in the Department of Energy and Applied Chemistry of Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto, formerly University of Sokoto. He was born on the 6th of June, 1966 at Minannata area in Sokoto metropolis. He began his educational career at the Magajerapi Primary School, Sokoto in 1973, which he completed in 1979. From 1979 to 1984, he was at Government Secondary Technical School, Talata Mafara, for his secondary school education. He completed his studies with amazing excellent results and proceeded to the University of Sokoto, now known as Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto, where he obtained his PSc degree in applied chemistry in July 1988 and had his one-year mandatory service, that is the NYSC, to his motherland at Benue State of Nigeria. His yearning for education spurred him to immediately gain admission for postgraduate studies at the University of Jos, where he obtained master's degree in applied organic chemistry in 1994. This effort was followed by a doctoral degree, PhD degree in applied chemistry in 1998 from Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto. Other academic qualifications he obtained include postgraduate diploma in management in May 2000, postgraduate diploma in education 2003, advanced certificate in desktop publishing in April 2008. Professor Garba also attended various short courses, which include international course on cost-effective planning and design for small hydropower projects at Alternate Hydro Energy Center, Indian Institute of Technology, University of Rocky, India in 2002. Training on biomass gasification at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in 2004, training in renewable energy, Beijing, China in 2009. International Higher Education Exclusive Training Program, University of Houston, Texas, United States of America, among others. He had at many times represented the country either as member or leader of the delegation on bilateral or multilateral cooperation meetings, such as the following: T8 meetings and summit, World Energy Council meetings, study tour and training need assessment visits, ECOWAS and other regional fora and expositions. He had traveled to more than 40 different countries across the globe, such as United States of America, United Kingdom, France, Italy, Germany, Poland, Ukraine, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, Turkey, Singapore, India, Saudi Arabia, Cuba, Qatar, South Africa, among others. Professor Garba was a consultant to UNDP, UNIDO, TEDFund, and other organizations. He has more than 100 publications to his credit in reputable international and local journals and proceedings. He is an editor, co-editor, or reviewer to numerous scientific journals across the world. He had as well presented more than 100 papers at different fora within and outside the country. Professor Garba began his working career as graduate assistant at Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto, in October 1989. and he rose through the ranks to become a professor in 2002 at the age of 35 years only. He was arguably one of the few youngest professors to have occupied professorial chair in the field of science and engineering in the country at that time. His area of specialization is applied chemistry with special interest in areas such as the following: renewable energy, biomass, biofuels, solar, and others, chemical technology, flame retardant chemistry, industrial chemistry processes, fuel, polymers chemistry. Professor Garba had held numerous academic and administrative responsibilities in the course of his meritorious years in the service of the university. He was appointed Director of Sokoto Energy Research Center, UDUS, from 1999 to 2005, before moving to Abuja to serve as Director, Energy Management, Training and Manpower Development of the Energy Commission of Nigeria from 2006 to 2010. He served in various capacities as chairman or member of a number of committees and panels, which include council member UDUS, council member of the Polytechnic of Sokoto State, now Umaru Ali Shinkafi Polytechnic Sokoto, council member Sokoto State University, chairman, co-chairman, and member of NUC ad hoc accreditation panels. He has taught in not less than 7 universities in various capacities and external examiner or assessor to more than 15 universities and other tertiary institutions in the country. Professor Garba is a member of various professional bodies, which include the following: 1, Fellow Chemical Society of Nigeria, 6th March to 2004, 6 March 2004 to date. Fellow Institute of Chartered Chemists of Nigeria, 29 March 2007 to date. Fellow Solar Energy Society of Nigeria, 7th December 2006 to date. Fellow Renewable and Alternative Energy Association of Nigeria, 2003. Chartered Chemist, a member, Royal Society of Chemistry, England, March 2000 to date. Member, New York Academy of Sciences, USA, December 1998 to date. Member, Nigerian National Committee of the World Energy Council since 2000. Life member, Solar Energy Society of Nigeria since 2010. Professor Garba has supervised more than 40 postgraduate theses, MSc and PhD, to successful completion. It was in consideration of his sterling qualities and pedigree as a scientist of repute that the Sokoto State government appointed Professor Bashir Garba as Rector and Chief Executive of the Polytechnic of Sokoto State on 31st August 2012. While in office as Rector, Professor Garba brought in a lot of developments in the Polytechnic in both human resources and provision of infrastructure. In September 2015, Professor Garba's record of service changed when he was appointed Secretary to the Sokoto State Government SSG, a position he held until 29 of May 2019, when his tenure was completed. Professor Garba was subsequently appointed in June 2019 as Commissioner and member of the Sokoto State Executive Council in charge of the Ministry for Higher Education, a position he held till 18th January 2022, when he voluntarily resigned his appointment in order to contest for the vacant position of the Vice Chancellor of the Sokoto State University. Professor Bashiru Garba was appointed the third substantive Vice Chancellor of the Sokoto State University on April 25th, 2022 by the Sokoto State Government. He assumed duty on May 5th, 2022, and his appointment was approved based on the recommendation of the University's Governing Council and his outstanding performance during the process of the interview. During his tenure as the Vice Chancellor of the Sokoto State University, Professor Garba made significant efforts toward the growth and development of teaching, research, and community service, as well as infrastructure development. He has also strategically repositioned the institution to fulfill its mission and vision. The university started its second phase of development under Professor Bashir Garba's leadership. Professor Garba is a recipient of many awards and certificates of merits from a number of organizations, some of which are the prestigious National Honors Award, Member of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, MFR, conferred to him by the former President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, on the 14th November 2011. His profiles were also published in the compendium of 16th edition of Marcus, Who is Who in the World, Science and Engineering in 1998. He was awarded International Man of the Year in 2000 by the International Biography Center, Cambridge, United Kingdom. He is also a recipient of the meritorious Diamond Award for National Development by Corporate and Media Africa Communications in 2005. He was also honored with the traditional title of Tafida Minannata in July 2010 in recognition of his service to his immediate community. Professor Garba is currently serving as the 10th substantive Vice Chancellor of the Great Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto, since 1st September 2024. Professor Garba has a Google Scholar citation account of about 2,000. From the few articles he uploaded, Professor Bashir Garba, MFR, is happily married and blessed with children. Mr. Chairman, sir, it is with great honor and privilege that I respectfully present to you Professor Bashir Garba, MFR, to deliver his inaugural lecture. Professor, sir, may you now take the podium.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على نبي الكريم. The chairman, the pro-chancellor and chairman of council of this great university, and the chairman of this occasion, Professor Attairu Muhammadu Jega, OFR, the external members of the University Governing Council and other members of council here present, the principal officers of the university, members of the University Senate, the visiting vice chancellors here present. I can cite the vice chancellor of the Federal University Gusau, the vice chancellor of Federal University Vernon Kevi, the vice chancellor of Sokoto State University, the Vice Chancellor of CESA University of Medical Sciences, and their principal officers here present, the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Science and Technology, Sokoto State, the heads of departments, students, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you most sincerely to the 52nd inaugural lecture of this university, which is to be presented by my humble self. Also, before I proceed, acknowledge the presence of the director in the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, in the person of Dr. Gire, and all the other visiting invited guests. So, like I said, this lecture is the 52nd in the series. And we have a long way to go in the sense that this university had produced over 400 professors. And by tradition, each professor is expected, when appointed into the professorial chair, to present or share his experience with colleagues and other members of stakeholders. So you can see out of over 400, this is the 52nd that will be presented. So I want to use the opportunity to call on my colleagues who have not made their presentation to please endeavor to try to do so. Otherwise, if you allow your presentation to delay like my own, when it approaches retirement age, we declare it as valedictory lecture. So we want to have every scholar to present these two lectures in his service time, the inaugural lecture and the valedictory lecture. We have not started taking any presentation as valedictory lecture. So we are calling on our retiring colleague who have few months or a year to retirement to please endeavor to present their working experience, to share their working experience with colleagues who are still in service. So this, in addition to the inaugural lecture, I believe will sensitize many of our young colleagues to double up towards achieving this feat. So on this note, I would like to proceed with my presentation. I can see from the program, I'm allocated 1 hour, 15 minutes. And the lecture, I have broken it into 102 slides, which I believe I should be able to present within the stipulated time. So, as you can see, the topic of my presentation is titled Chemistry, Energy, and Industrialization, the triford of sustainable development. Please, next slide. And this presentation will be made in the following outlines. We are going to look at the preamble, introduction, where we have the overview of science and technical education in Nigeria, because science is the basis of scientific programs. So we also look at the challenges to the realization of science technology education goals in Nigeria, and we look at what the way forward should be. We'll also look at the intersection between chemistry and energy, and then to be followed by issues on industrialization. Then we look at sustainable development, and then we proceed to my research focus and contribution to knowledge, and then we conclude. We then look at the future directions, and then I appreciate you. Thank you. Next slides. Pro-Chancellors, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and students, it is an honor for me to stand before you today for this inaugural lecture. I sincerely apologize for the delay in delivering this inaugural lecture 23 years after occupying this esteemed professorial chair. Circumstances beyond my control led to this delay. Despite the challenges, I'm grateful for the opportunity to finally share my reflections with you today. I appreciate your understanding and look forward to our discussion. Next slide. As we gather to explore the intersection of chemistry, energy, and industry, we embark on a journey to unlock the potentials for sustainable development. Today, I will discuss how chemistry serves as tripod supporting the balance between energy demand, industrial growth, and environmental stewardship. Let us embark on this exploration together, envisioning a future where science and innovation drive progress. My fascination for chemistry stems from its potential to address real-world challenges. As I explored various fields, renewable energy captivates me due to its critical role in ensuring sustainable future. The prospect of harnessing chemical principles to develop innovative solutions for energy generation, storage, and efficiency drove my academic pursuit. This passion ultimately led me to specialize in renewable energy, aiming to contribute meaningfully to global transition towards cleaner and more sustainable energy system. It is generally believed that the global political and socioeconomic landscape is experiencing changes. There is no doubt, therefore, we are living in an age in which the role of chemistry, energy, and industry becomes evident every day. Thus, chemistry and energy play a fundamental role in achieving sustainable development, such as wealth creation, improvement in the quality of life, and real economic growth and transformation in our society. It is through chemical technology and energy transformation that we can harness the forces of nature and to transform the raw resources with which nature endows mankind into goods and services for better quality of life. The world is at a critical juncture, facing pressing challenges that demand innovative solutions. Chemistry, therefore, is often referred to as the critical science, which plays a pivotal role in addressing these challenges. Today, I will explore the intersection of chemistry, energy, and industrialization, and discuss how these fields can be harnessed to drive sustainable development. Let us embark on this journey to uncover the transformative potentials of chemistry and energy in shaping a more sustainable future. Introduction. The world is at critical juncture, like I said, facing challenges that demand innovative solutions. Therefore, chemistry is often referred to, please, can you go back? It's often referred to as central science because there is nothing that does not involve chemistry, no process in the human activities that does not involve chemistry. That's why chemistry is often referred to as mother of sciences. We used to say, what is it that can be done without chemistry? I believe nothing, because in whatever practice we make, chemistry must be involved. So today, next slide, it's like there is duplication here. It is important to know that the fundamental purpose of science and technology, we are looking at the overview of science and technology education in Nigeria. So we want to see the basis, how far we have started, what we are into. So in this case, we need to note that the fundamental purpose of science and technology education in Nigeria is to produce all types and levels of scientific manpower required by the economy, and in so doing, to extend the realm of practical human possibilities through research. The survival of Nigeria as a nation in the advancing world of science and technology requires progress towards these two goals. The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria requires government in the Federation to promote technology and science education. The purpose of science education is to cultivate the knowledge and rational mind needed to maintain the good life and enlighten humanity, produce scientists for national development, further the cause of science in human and national development, and service technology education as the provider of fundamental scientific knowledge used by technology. One major weak point in the educational system in Nigeria has always been in the science and technology sector. This was due to various factors, the most important being the limited objective of the earliest providers of Western education in Nigeria. As far as the colonial government, the policy maker was concerned, all it needed from the native was a crop of Nigerians who could assist with colonial administration as clerks, court interpreters, etc., and as administrators to replace expatriates, especially during the First World War economic depression, when it was no longer economically or fashionable for the colonial government to bring expatriates to occupy those middle-level administrative positions in Nigeria. On the other hand, most Nigerians prefer liberal education to science and technical education for their children because it provides ready white-collar jobs. Education was indeed regarded as a means to liberate their children from the tedium of farming and other menial jobs. Another end user of product of the colonial education was the colonial trading companies, which also needed interpreters, account clerks, and the like to facilitate their trade with the hinterland. Since there was no attempt to add value locally to the raw materials they traded in, such as palm oil, palm kernel oil, cocoa, groundnut, cotton, and other minerals, there was no special need to have educated Nigerians with high technical and scientific know-how in any appreciable level. Since there was no attempt to add value locally to the raw materials, they traded in. So in the recent years, our science and technology education system has deteriorated to a point where students cannot acquire the necessary skills they needed to become employable or innovative in an ever-changing world upon graduation. Higher institutions are plagued with inadequate facilities and materials for practical skills development. Many laboratories lack basic equipment for thorough scientific researches. Nigeria is turning out thousands of science and technology graduates each year, but several of them are underemployed going into other scientific sectors. Come to TED Fund and the ASU, more especially under the leadership of Professor Ataru Jega, which made recommendation for the establishment of TED Fund. And as a result of that intervention, the situation has improved to some extent in the sense that the TED Fund has been funding, there are so many funding intervention lines which supports acquisition of equipment and other supporting facilities for enhanced science and technical education. So policymakers at all levels in Nigeria need to be keenly aware that few countries can achieve development goals of economic diversification, food security, improved health system, cleaner energy, generating wealth and jobs, and reducing absolute poverty without the scientific, engineering, and technical capacity to handle these challenges, particularly in the chemical sciences. There are no sustainable solutions if countries do not develop appropriate capacity in science and technical education for local use. Then what is the way forward? We need to focus our research efforts and expenditure on the few areas where we have comparative advantage. Areas like agriculture, petrochemicals, renewable energy, and mining, to mention a few. The good news is that we need not to climb the science and technology education ladder from the bottom. Mechanism must be put in place to improve the quality of equipment and facilities available for teaching at all levels of education, as well as for research at the tertiary level. These measures are not limited to simply increasing funds available. Collaboration among higher institutions should also be encouraged. In the case of university research, funding should be competition-based to provide incentives to enhance efficiency and strengthen collaboration with industry. Now, we need to look at I'm taking chemistry products. The intersection between chemistry and energy is vast and crucial for achieving sustainable development. Then, let's look at chemistry, its contribution to sustainable development. Chemistry has been a firebird of science and hence the most needed tool scientifically for human capital and national development. Chemistry is all about everything in the world. It is the nucleus of science, which ultimately is the foundation upon which any nation developed. The chemical industry is the index of development of any nation. The place of chemistry in all the needs of man need not to be overstated. The greatest needs of mankind have their roots firmly in chemistry and chemical technology. In Nigeria, even though industrial output is still low, chemical industry has already assumed an important position. Production and consumption of chemicals are still comparatively low. Industries manufacturing chemicals and related products continue to grow in number and diversity. Chemistry certainly cannot be divorced from any human activities. Essentially, chemistry forms the bedrock subject for all sciences and science-related courses in the tertiary institution. As any student wishing to study engineering, agriculture, medicine, pharmacy, nursing, optometry, medical laboratory science, etc., and even in some social sciences programs, required credit pass in chemistry at the ordinary level. Chemistry is important in our daily lives in many ways, including if you look at the food industry, medicines, because most of the drugs are synthetic. Even the natural drugs have to be extracted from the sources. So in the production of drugs and food, chemistry must play a role. Even for you to ignite a stove or fire source, you must perform chemistry there, because the fuel source and even the igniter must have been produced from chemical sources. Cleaning agent as well, defense and chemistry, they are produced from chemical substances. So also clothing materials, we have different kinds. All the different attires we are wearing are product of chemistry. The chairs we are sitting on, the upholsteries, the processing of the wood, even the wood itself, is a chemical source. The rug on the floor, the roofing sheet, the ceiling, everything have their root from chemistry. So fuel and transportation. The basic source of power that enables you even to drive to this campus with your car is fuel, which is a source of chemical. Because the fuel that is sent to the combustion chamber in a mixture with air will combust, push at a inlet stroke, the fuel air mixture get to the combustion chamber. At power stroke, the spark plug will ignite, and as a result of that ignition, it generates enormous amount of heat and pressure that enable the piston to go down. And at exhaust stroke, the piston will come up with the combusted gas, and it enables the exhausted gas to go out through the exhaust manifold. So that up and down movement of the piston, which is called reciprocating motion, resulted into rotary motion that's transmitted to the flywood and flied from the flywood to the gearbox and to the rear axle or the front axle of the machine. So it all started as a result of the chemical substances that combusted to give this power to the engine and enable you to drive it. Even the aeroplane, is fuel and air mixture that resulted into the thrust that enabled the aeroplane to lift and take you to wherever you want to go. The fuel sources is all chemical substances. Cosmetics also. Cosmetics are produced from chemical substances. Biochemical, okay. We have also processes in the that resulted into the production of these substances, which may include the biochemical changes that result in the process of all these chemical transformation to the end-use products. And we have chemical reactions also taking place that resulted into that product. In the process of chemical reaction, chemical changes also takes place. Next. So on this note, I would like to say that the global socioeconomic landscape is experiencing rapid changes due to advances in chemistry. Globalization is creating considerable opportunities and challenges. Its impact on national economy is driven by significant progress in chemical technology, as exemplified by a plethora of breakthroughs in biotechnology, medicine, energy development, among many others. Those chemical technology plays a fundamental role in wealth creation, improvement of the quality of life, and real economic and transformation in any society. Chemical technologies are used, this I mentioned. In fact, the wealth, influence, and power in the world political scene of any nation. Okay. I think that application that's that. Okay. The wealth, influence, and power in the world political scene of any nation largely depend on chemical technology for socioeconomic benefit. Advances in chemical technology can help to diversify the economy, improving productivity in sectors like agriculture. Next slide. So having now known the contribution of chemistry in our socioeconomic development, we now need to look at the other hand, energy. So energy is an important factor to economic and social development of any nation as well. It plays a major role in reducing poverty, improving productivity, enhancing the general quality of lives of the people. You can see we cannot comfortably be here if there is no energy generating facilities or facilities that uses energy to make us comfortable, like air conditioners, the lighting fittings, the cooling fans, even the projector, everything is powered by energy. So you can see it's equally very important. So today, approximately a large percentage of Nigerians lacks access to modern energy services. So you can see that within the last 1 month, how people in this part of the country suffers due to the collapse in some of the transmission towers that service this area. And you can see how much you expend in providing self-generated power. So without energy, we cannot be comfortable. So you have to struggle by all means to make sure that you provide alternatives to meet off with your demand, or so that you'll be able to run activity, because certainly nothing can be provided, or services can be met up without supply of energy. So looking at this figure, okay, this will tell you how far backward Nigeria is in terms of energy generation or per capita energy consumption. What I mean by per capita energy consumption is when you divide your generation by your population. Look at this. Bangladesh, at the time when this survey or data was obtained, Nigeria is second to the list, the last, lowest, with 157 watts per individual. What that means, if the generation is to be divided by our population, what an individual will get will be 157 watts. That will just be sufficient enough to power one incandescent bulb of 100 watts, because it cannot power two. But after this compilation, a lot of, there is drastic increase in our population. And therefore, our generating capacity is still within that same range. Because even though we have installed capacity in the country of about 9,000 megawatts, the generating capacity has never exceeded, very difficult to exceed 5,000 megawatts. So if you divide 5,000 megawatts now by a population of about 220 or more people, what you'll be getting will be far less than 157 watts. That is why we can say that many of us, or many of our communities, are without electricity. You can see our sister African countries like South Africa having per capita electricity consumption of more than 4,000. That means if it's to be shared equally, each individual will get more than 4,000 watts. So you can see the difference. See what it is in other countries. Next slide. Therefore, Nigeria's per capita electricity consumption is 4 times less than the African average, and about 19 times less than the world average. And to achieve sustainable development, you need power, you need electricity, because none of the sustainable development goals and other sustainable development targets can be met without major improvement in the quality of energy services. So this is the table for that figure I presented, so that you can see it in numbers. You can see South African, go back please, South African consumption per capita almost close to 5,000, when that of Nigeria is 154. Yes, you can see that of Kenya, you can see that of Ghana, you can see Gabon, you can see Egypt, and so on. Next slide. Next. So as this also is an aerial view of the world at night. And you can see other continents bright. All the light spots you are seeing represent electricity. But if you look at African continent, is looking black at night. If not in the recent time, when renewable energy stand-alone solar street light are being deployed. So, but only that you can see mostly in the state capitals. So what we used to see in the past is this kind of light, which is a natural gas, very valuable resource, being flayed away at the point of oil exploration, drilling rig points. This is an offshore, it's inside water. So you have to burn the natural gas so as to enable, because it's this associated gas in the process of drilling out crude oil for the production of fuels and petrochemicals is accompanied by this natural gas and brine water, salty water. The water you can easily dispose of. But this natural gas, if you allow it to saturate in the air, if there is combustion, then there will be fire disaster. So you have to put it to use, or you have to burn or fly it away. So that is what is happening. So in most cases, when you pass across over this region, the only source of light you can see is this light as a result of flaring of natural gas. Next slide. So therefore, a pressing concern is that more than 2 billion people, mostly in rural areas of developing countries like Nigeria, do not have access to affordable modern energy services that could help them break out of cycle of poverty, ill health, and deprivation. It will be an enormous mistake on moral, political, and economic ground to ignore the plight of this deprived segment of humanity. So our politicians should take note, who are the mantle of leadership. Electricity is required for such basic developmental services as 5 born water, healthcare, telecommunications, and quality education. The poverty eradication and universal basic education programs requires energy for success, and renewable energy is therefore capable of providing the absence of reliable energy supply. The absence of reliable energy supply has not only left the rural populace socially backward, but has left their economic potentials untapped. In order to ensure sustainability, in the rural and semi-urban areas of Nigeria, energy access needs to be enhanced through utilizations of renewable sources of energy. Essentially, biomass, solar, wind, small and micro hydro, taking into account the development priorities of the government and suitability of different energy sources for different applications. The Energy Commission of Nigeria had developed a roadmap for renewable energy utilization and contribution to the national energy mix. And programs and targets have been established for the contribution of renewable energy in the energy mix. But up to the moment, that roadmap will be outdated by the year 2025, I believe. No, it's expiring this year, 2025. But up to now, there is no significant contribution. I think there is no contribution of renewable energy into our national energy mix. Our electricity source is from the hydropower plant and the thermal power plants, which generate electricity as a result of combustion of liquefied natural gas and other sources to generate electricity. But due to awareness, the federal government has embarked into producing stand-alone solar electric power plants, which we could all bear witness because we have one in our campus, which generate 2 megawatts of electricity, but it's not contributing to national grid. And we are using the source directly because the policy now on power generation has been liberalized. If it were before, once you generate what is up to 1 megawatt of electricity, you must inject it to the grid, and the grid will share whatever comes to you is your own. It doesn't have to be all that you generated. But with this change in policy, that's why we're able to generate 2 megawatt and utilize it for our own consumption here. Thanks to the effort of the Federal Ministry of Education and the Rural Electrification Agency, which put some of these projects in their budget, and tertiary institutions are being targeted and started with universities. The first phase, 7 universities were considered, which were opportune to be one of the first 7. And I want to inform you that there were team of engineers are doing to ensure that our plant is running. In some other places, they have problem maintaining the facilities. But the fact that we have experienced hands with the Renewable Energy Center in place and engineers in the works and services, our plants have never ceased to work, except for 2 days when some vandals vandalized the facilities, cutting some armored cables, which resulted into power outage from the solar plant just for 2 days, and we are able to fix the problem. So besides that, the plant has been off and running. And we have just been informed or communicated to that the federal government has directed that we are considered to be part of those that will benefit from the second phase of another 2 megawatt plant. So if we are able to generate up to 4 megawatt plant, our consumption capacity is more than the initial 2 megawatt plant. That's why sometimes you see that we have to do some rationing. But if we are able to get up to 4 megawatt plant in place, and our consumption capacity is close to 3,000 megawatts, so you can see we even have surplus to use for the suppressed demand. So we hope by next year or in some couple of months, because land had already been allocated for that project. So I want to commend the federal government. They have started seeing the importance of renewable energy towards contribution in the energy mix. So instead of contributing to the grid, now we are doing standalone projects. Then gradually now we have mega projects that can be injected into the grid. So it is also likely that such energy systems based on decentralized and cleaner energy are better suited to meet the need of the rural areas. Next. Next slide. While promoting renewable energies, energy efficiency should not be left out. Because if you can recall, in the past, what we use are incandescent bulb. One incandescent bulb of 100 watts is now being replaced with even 10 watts of lead-emitting diode lamp, LED, or energy-saving bulbs. So with that, you can now see that you are saving energy. When I was in the Energy Commission, we were able to procure about 1 million energy-saving bulbs. And we used those bulbs to retrofit incandescent bulbs in some organized estates. And by so doing, it has been established that if you retrofit 1 million bulbs, it's like you are saving about 35 megawatt of electricity. So if generation is difficult, you have to look inward to adjust your consumption. Deployment of energy-saving bulbs and other facilities will not deprive you from getting the services that you are getting before using energy-guzzling equipment. Cuba in the past, that was the reason behind our first trip to Cuba, I made presentation at the World Energy Council conference in Abuja. And some newspapers carried the presentation, like Daily Trust. So when Cuban ambassadors saw what I was suggesting for country to adopt as a way out towards minimizing energy outage in the country, then he developed interest and invited me to the embassy. He requested for appointment to come and see me. I said, I'm one of the directors, I'm not the chief executive. And instead, I want him to let me come and visit him. So when I came, we discussed, and he invited me to come to Cuba to see what their country has done towards overcoming the energy shortages in the country. So I promised him that if my DG returns from his trip, I will brief him and we'll come and discuss together. So when we came, he insisted, and he gave us visas, and we traveled to Cuba for 2 weeks. We were engaging their scientists, their developers, and different stakeholders. And the simple technology they adopted for them to be able to move their energy access from about 50, 60 to about 98% was simply energy management, which they just employ simple device of retrofitting their energy consuming appliances with energy saving fund. And as a result of that, many other countries neighboring Cuba requested for their support to be able to help them out of the problem they are facing in terms of the energy supplies. Venezuela is one of such countries, and we requested for their intervention as well. So they said, let's start with the bulbs they can produce for us, and we can buy 500,000, and they give us 500,000 free. So when we got those bulbs, we started replacing those bulbs in Abuja, so as to create awareness. So as a result of that, now you can see the energy consuming bulbs are not in the market, because you know that if you are using prepared meter, if you have those bulbs, your energy unit will be consumed. So we create that awareness. Ghana followed suit later. And even though in Cuba, even the refrigerators, because their population is not much, if you have energy consuming refrigerators, maybe you are using 4 refrigerators or 3 or even 2 in your house, and they discover that you don't need all of that. Your family size may be 2, 3, 4. So why do you need more than 1 fridge? So they take away the remaining one and give you an energy saving refrigerator with a freezer. So they extended that to the industries where electric motors also are being replaced with energy savings one. So by so doing, you improve access to energy instead of generation with just some modification, you are able to be there. And I was equally involved in the development of white paper for enhancing energy access for the ECOWAS. We did that with the support of UNDP. I was equally involved. I was part of the team that developed also the Renewable Energy Master Plan for the country. So we have to look at the energy resource, the resource base of the country. We are not only having renewable resources, but we have other fossil fuels like crude oil, which has made us lazy, allowing all other sectors, economic sectors, to die off because we have been getting enough resource from crude oil. So we have this crude oil since 1958 when exploration started. And substantial revenue that sustained the country has been from that all along. But then we have one belief that according to all studies, it has been proved that crude oil and other fossil fuels are finite in nature, they are exhaustive. So the storage, the reserve that we have can be exhausted anytime. So that's why we need to diversify on other resources. Natural gas. Nigeria is more of a natural gas country than oil, but we have not been using the natural gas. If we have the resource that we can generate power that will be all sufficient, but we are not utilizing it, we are just failing it away. So coal, we have coal deposit in most parts of the Nigeria. South Africa, they have a population of not 45 million, but they are generating over 43,000 megawatt of electricity. And 80% of it comes from coal. We have coal, we have natural gas, all that we can generate electricity, but we are not utilizing that. So what must have gone wrong? So we need to ask ourselves. So wind power. Wind speed also is another potential source of meeting our energy needs. In most of developed countries, the isolated communities are served or provided with electricity from wind and solar, and it has been surveyed even beyond the data we have, which says we have a wind potential of between 2 to 4 meters per second, which is adequate to propel wind turbines to generate electricity. And the technology has been domesticated. We have also deployed a German company called Lamea under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology that surveyed the wind potentials again to cover all the areas, but they are yet to cover that of offshore because you have more wind potential in the offshore side. But that at a 10 meters height, you can get as much as between 2 to 5 meters per second. So there's no part of this country where wind resources cannot be used to generate electricity. You can have a wind turbine, just one stand that can generate 2.5 megawatt up to 5 megawatt. And it's been practiced in many parts of the country. And this wind source of electricity is not contributing anything to our energy mix. Next slide. Other energy sources include uranium for nuclear energy. Because uranium, even Niger, most of the Europe countries are getting their uranium from Niger. So we have also deposits in Nigeria which have not been exploited. And even though the process have to be under the guide of Atomic Energy Agency, and even when a nuclear reactor was deployed in our energy center in Zaria, the Nuclear Energy Center, it took the Atomic Energy Agency several trips to be able to certify and even for the uranium ore to be deployed for use in that reactor that had been installed for training and other peaceful application. But the same principle. So we have crop of scientists also that are knowledgeable in power generation with a nuclear resource. Because the simple resource is just radioactive ores, like uranium ores, from which if you take a quantity, let's say 100 grams, you subject it to nuclear reaction. That is, if you undergo reaction, fission reaction especially, that larger molecules are broken to smaller molecules, maybe from thorium to another molecules. In the process of that, it generates enormous amount of heat. And the remnants, the byproducts, is also radioactive. It will be regenerate electricity again. So if you have small quantity of these radioactive ores, you can need to recycle them Because that's why even in the end, the disposal is a problem. Because even the spent product, the disposal may be a problem. So you can need to recycle. So it doesn't require much in terms of raw materials. So that is why it's the cheapest source of electricity, but it's high tech because of the electricity or the heat generated by the nuclear reaction. You have to subject the reactor to stages of cooling, constant cooling. Even at that, the gas that you produce, the end-use gas, will still be at about 300 degrees Celsius, which is highly intensive. And that is used to generate electricity that provide, electric motors and generate electricity. So this is the principle behind it. But if you are not very careful, if there is an explosion as a result of poor cooling, then we'll be exposed to radioactive substances, which even after small inhalation, the effect manifests after a very long time of absorption. And there is a level of absorption that leads to instant death also. That's why all these states among the various countries that are threatening war and so on, there is absolute care in the deployment of the nuclear weapons because of the devastating effects. Then another source of electricity or energy which is common to us is biomass resources. Traditional biomass and waste account for a significant portion of Nigeria's primary energy resources. Next slide. Let me give you an example. From the biomass resources, you can generate biofuels. These biofuels can be in liquid form, they can be in solid form, they can be in gaseous forms. You can use these plants with green color, is what is called jatropha. And jatropha is non-edible, so you can use it to produce biodiesel. Many countries now have resorted to using vehicles that doesn't use fossil diesel. They use, because this one, the combustion products are different. There is no emission gases. So the technology also is well noted. We have done so much work in the generation biodiesel and so on. We also have wood, which is common to us, we all see. I've seen a plant in India whereby these chips are now gas-fired, converted to gas. And the gas generated will be used in an engine like this as fuel to generate electricity. I've seen of 1 megawatt plant in India that cost just $1 million. At that time, $1 million is not up to 100 million naira, which the funding even our local government were getting should be afforded within 1 year to be able to put in place a 1 mega power plant, gasification plant that will power the whole community in that local government. Yes. We also have enormous sunshine resource, ranges between 400 and something to 700 and something watt per meter square, depending on the location, which the solar system are very suitable in all of our regions. We have two forms of utilization. We can convert the solar energy to electricity. You can convert it for thermal applications. For such applications, like, okay, when we get to those ones, I will explain. So this is another source of biomass where the biomass resources can be converted to gas for cooking and other heating applications. That type of gas generated is what is called biogas. And this, a lot of research have been conducted at the Energy Center in some of our departments in the Faculty of Science. So we only need to publicize this and also get government to take up the technology for mass production. We can use solar energy That's direct heating for conversion of heat to for other applications like water heating. We have different water heating. There's a time we have a similar arrangement in the Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital installed by the Energy Center of this university. Next slide. We have them for other applications like distillation, like drying, and so on. You have also for cooking. These are solar cookers that use direct sunlight on collector plates that enhance the heating capacity, and you'll be able to cook with them. There are even solar cookers that you cook indoor. You have the collector outside, you have the cooker inside the kitchen. So when is the flow with the fluid, so that fluid, when it collects the heat, will transmit to the cooking pot, and with that arrangement, you'll be able to cook indoor with solar cooker. And I've talked about solar wind. These are some samples. We have some samples. So what we have are just small capacities. The highest capacity we have in the energy center is 10 kilowatt, and we have 5 kilowatt as saying Gidangada. So those are demonstration of to show that wind energy also works, can be used to provide electricity as alternative. And the nuclear I have just talked about, this picture was taken at our nuclear center in Zaire. So you can see how flammable, how hot a nuclear fuel reaction can be. This is the type of heat that generates. So it requires enormous amount of cooling. These are facilities in Zaire. So we have specialists. We have the technology also has been domesticated, and we are using to train students. We are using to conduct research, because besides weapon electricity generation, there are other peaceful applications that you can deploy nuclear to achieve, not necessarily for weapons or even for electricity. This is also another nuclear equipment. This one is the installed in our energy center in University of Bapemi or University Ile-Ife. This is a nuclear accelerator, which you can use for research, you can use for material analysis, you can use for medical application, industrial application, and so on and so on. Even the X-ray diagnostic equipment that is subject yourself to operate on the basis of a nuclear reaction. I brought this picture back again to show you that I used the picture to show you that the source of light that we can see in those areas at night at the area view, but now to show you that also we have enormous amount of resource from oil wells, which the crude oil that is being produced or brought out is what we use to subject to what is called fractional distillation. Because as the name implies, it's crude oil, contains so many things. So when it's subjected by temperature difference, then you get the components separated. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, mainly what we are targeting for our crude are mainly fuels and fuel, even the petrochemical, even the refinery, everything as part of now, they are not working. Crude oil, it will be refined outside the country. Other product will be returned to us and we'll buy, and then we'll not be making rich, making any gain. So we need to look inward. We have the resources to be able to utilize our resources to get what we want. Therefore, I would like to say that access to energy has been intensified as major challenges and appears to be a consensus that provision of affordable, reliable, and socially acceptable energy services is a prerequisite for achieving sustainable development and self-reliance. Now let's look at industrialization. Okay. So I have just 15 minutes more. So let me rush the remaining slides. Industrialization, like I said, you need the three to achieve sustainable development. We have discussed the other two, and they too contribute to be able to have material process for end use. So industrialization is the process of transforming an economy from agrarian to an industrial society. It involves all of this. Next slide. So it increases productivity, economic growth, improve living standard, and job creation. Next. So let me give overview of industrialization in Nigeria, where we came from and where we are. Industrialization, industrial development represent a deliberate and sustained application and combination of suitable chemical technology management techniques and other resources to move an economy from the traditional and low level of production to a more automated and efficient system of mass production of goods and services. Yes. So let's go to the history. Next. Before independence in 1960, the Nigerian economy was mainly agrarian, both in production for domestic consumption and export. Industrialization was not part of the colonial economic policy, which was anchored on making the colonies producers of primary raw materials for foreign industry and importers of manufactured goods. Yes. Therefore, the task of first indigenous administration set for itself on attaining political independence was to transform the country into a modern industrial economy. The first independent government of Nigeria embraced this aspiration. Yes. From the first National Development Plan, 1962 to 1968, rapid industrialization received priority consideration in Nigeria's development objective. The period 1970 to 1986 was marked by centralization of industrial planning and excessive involvement of the federal government in industrial activity through the establishment of heavy capital-intensive industry meant to produce intermediate and capital goods. Phase 3 was the structural adjustment period, 1986 to 1988, in which government sought to rationalize its role by resuming a direct participation in industrial enterprise. From 1999 to date, there is no significant improvement in our industrial sector, largely due to poor energy supply. No investor, nobody can buy any industrialization, so we solely rely mainly on importation. Even the only company that survived in South Korea is because materials are cheap, so they only need to battle with the energy supply. Even at then, they have to install their own power plant to be able to sustain production. Next. So to achieve, go back. Now let's look at sustainable development. Sustainable development, therefore, refers to meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, and involve balancing economic, social, environmental concerns to achieve long-term viability. Yes. And these are the key aspects. We have social, economic, and environmental. Yes. Next. I'm trying to save time. Yes. Next. So the MDG, which started in 2000 and ended in 2015, is a goal that for achieving sustainable development that was set by the United Nations. Even though Nigeria, we started 6 years later, but even at then, we do not achieve much. I hope the time I'm taking drinking water will be subtracted from it. Okay. So later, after the expiration of the MDGs, so the SDG come in with 15 goals. And then next. So all these are the goals. Leave it here. We have the MDG, you have the SDGs. All of these sustainable or developmental goals cannot be achieved without intensive utilization of chemical technology and provision of energy services. So in Nigeria also, we set different targets. We have our constitution, we have our sectoral and developmental plans, we have the needs. We had this vision before, you can recall, during Babangida's time. We have the Vision 2020. We have 7-point agenda. We have transformation agenda. We have change agenda. And now we have renewed agenda. All the provisions of these agendas cannot be achieved without adequate provision of energy services. Next. So, different features, next one, let's do. So we also have other development targets, like the renewable energy master plan that I mentioned, the ECOWAS white paper on energy. We also had gas to power master plan, which I also took part in the development. We have overall energy master plan, which I also took part on its development. All these are targets that their implementation requires energy, or they will provide support if the recommendations are taken towards meet sustainable development. Then we also require environmental sustainability. So I explained this. Let's go to the next figure. Keep going until, wait, go back. Okay. To achieve sustainable development in environmental terms, in some developed countries, they are able to develop what is called, or utilize what is called, carbon capture and storage. This is a strategy whereby emission gases captured at point of emission will be transported and buried deep underground in such a way that they will be converted to something else. And that also, those gases also can be used to enhance recovery in oil wells that seems to be depleted. So in Africa, I don't think there is any country that has started deploying this carbon capture and storage. Some expresses the fear that when this gas is transported underground, and they cannot guarantee what will happen beneath the ground. So they are expressing that fear. But other countries have gone far in the utilization of carbon capture and storage or carbon sequestration strategy towards mitigating environmental problems. Next. So I would like to say that chemistry and energy have greater role to play towards achieving the various sustainable development targets. Because even when the gas are stored underground, it will depend on the chemistry to convert, chemical process, to convert to gas into more stable compound that will not be harmful to the environment. Next slide. Then on my research focus, I started by looking at the fire incidences that have been happening in our environment. Because if there is a fire incident, most of the combustible materials are wood, fibers, plastic, and the rest of them. So I started thinking, what materials can we impregnate or treat this material that will not allow them to burn or their combustion until such a time that rescue will come. So we decided thinking of flame retardant formulations. Even though there was some use some international company, we started looking inward on the local material. So we started by looking at this common aluminum sulfate that we use for water treatment. We found that we subjected it to test. We treated textile materials. We treated cellulosic wood materials. We treated some other materials. And we were able to come to conclusion that materials that are treated with these chemicals will delay combustion. And we subjected them to different tests. And I was able to publish more than 20 articles internationally in this area. So next slide. Next slide. Can you keep going until? Well, okay. Okay, go back. Then after that, when Professor Odin is here, he was once a staff of this university. He's now on sabbatical. When he came back from Britain after acquiring his master's degree, so he served his NYC here in the university, and he happens to introduce me to synthesis of what is called dispersed dyes. And these dyes, we realized that we can use it and also in association with flame retardant so that to serve as a carrier towards imparting flame retardant formulation on some cellulosic fabrics. The synthesis involves the azotization reaction and the coupling reaction. The azotization just introduce a second nitrogen atom into an amine, and that you diazotize to create an ionic site that the coupling component will couple and you produce a dispersed dye. And from there, you can subject it to other usage. So let's go on. Yes, keep going. Wait. Go back. Go back. Go back. Okay. No. Okay. Another area that we dwell so much time on is trying to find out or developing a chemical that solar absorptivity on solar thermal collector plates. And we're able to do this by identifying or using the locally available materials that we're able to treat with two types of chemicals, cupric nitrates and carbon black. We subjected different metal flakes. These chemicals we're able to produce enhancement of absorption or solar absorptivity on the metal plate they are applied for. So if you are, say, producing solar cooker and you added these substances into the black paint that are commonly used, you are likely to have more heat than when the paint is used alone. So these we are able to do, and we also produce international publications on it. Yes. Yes, keep going. Go, carry on. Go ahead. Okay. No, go back. Okay. The another area we dwell so much is in the development of biofuels. Like I told you, you have the biodiesel, bioethanol, and biogas. So all these areas, we have done so much researches, and we're able to publish papers in these areas. And our findings also are being used by other researchers. And I have also personally, with the support of my staff at the Energy Commission, developed a training manual on biofuels, which is also being used in different institutions and interested researchers in biofuels. So there are a number of researchers that cover this area. Go ahead, keep going. Yes. Okay. So these are the production principles. If you have the biomaterial, which is sugar-based, you can subject it to fermentation. Then fraction distillation, you get ethanol. Then you have the oil crops. Then you do extraction of the oil. Then do esterification. Then you get biodiesel. Then for biogas, you can subject the biomass material. You do anaerobic digestion. That digestion in the absence of air. Then you get biogas. These are the simple procedures. Yes. Yes, go ahead. Keep going. Conclusion. In conclusion, I would like to conclude this presentation by saying that the interplay between chemistry, energy, and industrialization is crucial for achieving sustainable development. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, it is imperative that we prioritize innovative and sustainable solutions that balance economic growth, social equity, and environmental protection. Yes. Thus, chemistry plays a vital role in developing sustainable materials, processes and technologies that support energy efficiency and reduce environmental impact. Chemistry contributes to the development of sustainable fuels, such as biofuels, hydrogen, synthetic gas that can reduce greenhouse gas emission and dependence on fossil fuels. Chemistry helps develop materials for energy storage, such as battery electrodes, because even in the solar application, the storage facilities are battery. So the power from the furnace are DC, the DC current, which is like a battery type of power. So you need to so that it can be stored in the battery, so that at night when there is no sunlight, you can get the power from the battery, and from there it will be converted using converter or inverter, alternating current. That's the AC type of power that will enable you to use the AC appliances. That's the simple principle. So chemistry help develop materials for energy storage, so that the battery, electrodes, supercapacitor materials. Chemistry also plays crucial role in energy conversion process, such as fuel cell electrolysis and photosynthesis. Energy is a critical component of sustainable development, and chemistry can help develop sustainable energy solutions, such as renewable energy sources and energy storage technology. Transition to renewable energy sources, such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric power, can significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and mitigate climate change. Improving energy efficiency in building, transportation, and industry can reduce energy consumption and lower emissions. Energy storage technologies, therefore, such as batteries and pumped hydro storage, enable efficient use of renewable energy sources and provide grid stability. Developing sustainable energy systems that integrate multiple energy sources, storage, and grid management can ensure a reliable and efficient energy supply. Industrialization can drive economic growth, but it must be done sustainably with consideration for environmental and social impact. By leveraging the intersection of chemistry and energy, we can develop innovative solutions that support sustainable industrial development, reduce environmental impact, and promote economic growth. Then what is the future direction? Recommendation. That's, as we move forward, it is essential that we foster interdisciplinary collaboration, encourage collaboration between chemists, engineers, policymakers, and industrial leaders to develop innovative solutions. Investment in sustainable technology, support research and development of sustainable technology such as carbon capture, utilization, and storage. Next. We need to promote education awareness. We need to educate public about the importance of sustainable development and the role of chemistry, energy, and industrialization activity. Finally, the tripod of chemistry, energy, and industrialization can support sustainable development, but it requires a concerted effort from all stakeholders. Let us work together to create a more sustainable future for all. Acknowledgement. I made the acknowledgement very brief, maybe in 1 to 2 slides in view of the time constraints. So I'm honored to deliver this inaugural lecture, and I'm grateful to my alma mater, the Usman Danfodio University of Sokoto, for this opportunity. I appreciate the support of my colleagues, students, and the university administration. Special thanks to our esteemed Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council, Professor Atahiru Muhammadu Jega, OFR, for kindly sharing this lecture. To my knowledge, this is the first inaugural lecture that was chaired by Pro-Chancellor and attended by all the external council members in this university. And I really appreciate this show of concern. I'm equally grateful to all members of the University Governing Council for their support and encouragement. I also acknowledge the contribution of my mentors who have guided me throughout my career. Too many to be mentioned. There are a number of them here, and there are a number of them from different locations of the country, and those related outside the country as well. So we have guided my career and colleagues and students who have enriched my academic journey. To my family, your unwavering support means all to me. So thank you all for being part of this milestone. Your presence today is a cherished honor, and I'm privileged to share this moment with you. I thank you all for your attention.
Can we a standing ovation presenter of today's lecture? Can we give another round of applause? Thank you, Maimata Satu. Please, another round of applause to our Vice Chancellor for this wonderful presentation. And I intentionally decided not to say that we are going to benefit a lot from this lecture. And it is a little unfortunate that the time was not enough for what he had prepared for the university community to benefit from his vast experience. We thank you very much, Professor Bashiru Garba, MFR, for this lecture. With the permission of Mr. Chairman, I would like to recognize in our midst the presence of another Vice Chancellor from the Northwest University here in Sokoto, Professor Mukhtar Umar Bunza. Sir, you are welcome, and we are sorry for not recognizing you on time. We also have the honor of having the Vice Chancellor of Federal University, Birnin Kebbi, Professor MZ Umar is also here with us. We apologize for not actually also finding you before now. Mr. Chairman, the next item on the agenda is a presentation of gifts to the lecturer, which is a tradition of the committee of the inaugural and seminars committee of the university to present to any professor that has presented his lecture. And this small gift is usually presented by the chairman of the occasion. May we have your honor to stand here and present this gift.
On behalf of the inaugural lecture series committee, I am pleased and honored to make this presentation to Professor Bashiru Garba, who just delivered an excellent inaugural lecture, and who is also the Vice Chancellor of our great university. Congratulations.
Another round of applause for the presentation of the gift, please. So you can take your seat. Thank you very much. while we hope to have a little time for the presenter to sit and relax his muscles, we'll move quickly to the next item on the agenda, which is a vote of thanks to be read by the Dean of the Faculty of Chemical and Life Sciences, Professor A.I. Safi.
The Pro-Chancellor and other members of the Council, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we have just had it all from no other person than the sailor of our ship, who is a prolific writer and researcher, who, to the best of my knowledge, is the first person that became a professor in this institution at the age of 35 years. I implore all of us to obtain that pamphlet, the lecture, because it is packed with so much knowledge. That is to say, the tripod between energy and chemistry, which is crucial for industrialization. At least we know energy access is our individual and collective problems. At least we know how we sleep in our houses. You either sleep in darkness and in heat, or your take-home pay will pay for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, we should try our journey. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much and very much for having time to be with us here for this lecture. And I pray that all of us will get back to our destination safely. Thank you, and thank you once and for all. Thank you.
Another round of applause, please, for the Dean. Before the next item on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I would like to also recognize the presence of Dr. Tambari Umar, who is the provost of Shehu Shagari College of Education here in Sokoto. We apologize for not recognizing you before this time. This is an information coming from the chairman of the inaugural and seminars committee, that I should tell you that today's presentation is indeed a special one. And that is why we have little violation on the timing of the presentation instead of having our presentations in the evening. And this was a gesture that was given to accommodate members of the external council for them to be present to this lecture. And there is also that the VC himself have apologized before his lecture that he is presenting a little late. I don't want to say late, little late, and encouraged other professors here in our midst to please try and see in whatever capacity they will also come and share with us both the sweet and the bitter stories of their experiences. And for that, we want to announce that we have already 3 presentations that are already on ground between now and the 31st of July. So any other professor who is willing can contact the committee for any submission. I would like to, with the permission of the chairman, invite my friend, Dr. M.K. Sabo, to please come forward and give us a closing prayer. M.K. Sabo, please.
ما شاء الله الحمد لله ما شاء الله الحمد لله صلوا على النبي الكريم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة. اللهم طهر قلوبنا من النفاق وأعمالنا من الرياء وألسنتنا من الكذب وأعيننا من الخيانة. اللهم ارزقنا قبل الموت توبة وعند الموت شهادة وبعد الموت جنة ونعيما وملكا كبيرا. ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين. بسر فاتحة الكتاب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم ملك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. M.K. Sabo. I will thank everybody for finding the time. Can you please still remain? We will have a national anthem before departure. And please, procession is going in reverse order. People should wait until members of the high table exited the hall. And there is going to be a group photograph outside of the hall around the central masjid of the university here. Band, national anthem, please. Thank you, everyone. We look forward to meeting you within the month of July for the next presentations. Thank you once again.